When Claire first heard her daughter whispering to someone in the corner of her room, she wasn't alarmed. Children, she reminded herself, had wild imaginations. Imaginary friends were part of growing up, a harmless companion conjured to fill the silence. Her daughter, Lily, was 6 years old, precisely the age where invisible playmates appeared, danced, and eventually faded away. At first, it was endearing. Lily would sit cross-legged on her rug, whispering into the air, giggling softly as if someone had told her a secret. She would offer half of her cookies to the empty space beside her, set an extra glass of water at the dinner table, and insist on saying goodnight to Michael before going to bed. Claire smiled at it, telling herself it was evidence of her daughter's creativity. But slowly, a faint unease began to stir. Michael wasn't just a passing invention. Lily described him in unsettling detail. Tall, with dark hair and tired eyes, always wearing the same clothes he wore before he went away. She said he was kind, that he read her bedtime stories even when her mother wasn't in the room, that he knew things only a father would know. And that was what made Claire's chest tighten every time Lily spoke of him. Because Lily's father, David, had died before she was even born. Claire had never spoken much about him, never shown Lily more than a handful of photographs. She had been too young to remember, too young to know the sound of his voice or the shape of his hands. Yet somehow, through this imaginary friend, Lily described him with an accuracy that chilled Claire's blood. One night, after tucking her daughter in, Claire lingered in the doorway, listening. Lily's voice drifted into the dark. "Yes, Michael. I know you love me. I love you too." Claire swallowed hard. Maybe, she told herself, she had slipped. Maybe Lily had overheard her mother once call her father's name. Maybe she'd pieced together scraps from overheard conversations. Or maybe her mind had simply invented a father-shaped companion to soothe her own loneliness. But then the notes began appearing. The first was tucked beneath Lily's pillow. Just 3 words, written in a slanted hand that Claire had not seen in years. "Sweet dreams, Angel." She had found it one morning while making the bed, her fingers freezing mid-fold as her eyes locked on the handwriting. Her heart pounded painfully against her ribs. It couldn't be. She had burned every letter, every birthday card, every love note David had ever written after his death, unable to bear the weight of memory. But the writing, God, it was his. The same loops, the same deliberate strokes, the unmistakable curl on the letter G. Her first instinct had been to question Lily. "Where did you get this?" she demanded, waving the paper in trembling hands. Lily only blinked innocently. "Michael left it. He said you wouldn't believe me otherwise." Claire's throat went dry. She stuffed the note in a drawer and tried to forget it, but forgetting was impossible when another appeared the following week, slipped into Lily's backpack. "Proud of you, always watching." Then another, left at the foot of her bed. "Don't worry, little one, I'll never leave again." Each note carried the same handwriting, the same ink pressed just a little too firmly into the paper, as though the writer feared it might vanish if he didn't carve it in deep. Sleep became scarce for Claire. She began locking every window, double bolting every door, installing cameras in hallways and outside the house, but nothing captured anyone entering. No intruder, no shadow, no wandering stranger. It was as if the notes appeared out of thin air, and Lily only grew closer to her friend. She drew pictures of him, a man with broad shoulders, the same tired but kind eyes that haunted Claire's memory. The boundary between imagination and something else, something far darker, began to blur. One night, unable to fight the weight of dread, Claire sat by Lily's bed after she had fallen asleep. Hours crept by in silence. Midnight passed. Her eyelids grew heavy, and then, as the clock struck 2, she felt it. The air shifted. The nightlight flickered once, twice before holding steady again, and there, on the nightstand, sat a folded piece of paper that hadn't been there before. Claire's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't blinked. She hadn't looked away. It had appeared. With trembling hands she reached for it. "Stop being afraid. She deserves to know me." Who was leaving these? Was it truly David, his spirit clawing its way back through some impossible veil, or something else entirely? Something using his memory as a mask? Over the following weeks, the notes grew more frequent. They were no longer just for Lily. They began to address Claire. "I see you watching. I see your doubt." Another one. "She's mine too. And the most chilling of all, you can't keep us apart." Claire began to crumble. Every corner of the house felt watched. every shadow too deep. She considered leaving, packing everything and running far away, but the thought of abandoning her daughter to whatever force lingered was unbearable. Then one morning, she found Lily in the kitchen, humming, a new note clutched in her small hand. "He says he wants to meet you, Mommy," she said sweetly. "He says tonight." Claire took the note with shaking fingers. No more hiding. Midnight, in her room. As the clock neared midnight, Claire sat again in her daughter's room, clutching a candle though the lamp was still lit. The silence was unbearable, the air thick. Claire's pulse hammered. She forced herself not to blink, not to look away. The shadows deepened. From the corner of the room, something shifted, and then she saw it, a figure, faint and wavering as though painted in smoke. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair, eyes she had once loved more than anything. Her breath came out in a strangled sob. "David." The figure did not speak. It only raised its hand, and in it was another note. With trembling fingers, Claire picked up the paper. "I never left. She's ours." Tears blurred her vision. She clutched Lily tightly to her chest as the girl stirred in her sleep, whispering a single word with a smile. "Daddy."